Sometimes in life, especially out here, things don't always go as planned. Can't always, can't always just plan everything the way you think it ought to be. And this little tractor here is kind of a good example of that. I bought this sight unseen slightly after getting the property. I didn't know a lot about tractors, to be quite honest, and it wasn't as good of a tractor as I thought it would be. I got it very cheap, so I wasn't expecting a lot. I was hoping for a little bit more, especially with that front bucket. It only lifts hydraulically. It just has a mechanism to release it and then catch it. So the bucket's not super useful. Right now its biggest use is simply a counterweight on the front. And that's another thing, is this is just a two-wheel drive vehicle. I've got a lot of steep terrain out here, and it actually does really well. I'm impressed with it. Having some weight on the front with that bucket helps a lot. Having weight on the back with the chipper, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, helps a lot as well. So it handles the terrain well. And so I was a little bit disappointed with it when I first got it, until we got the chipper. And the chipper has turned this old tractor into an incredibly useful tool for us. Really gave this 60-plus-year-old tractor new life. Couldn't be happier with it. It does what it needs to do, and that's what matters. It's not pretty, it's not flashy. We get it everywhere on this property that we need to, just about, and it powers the chipper, and the chipper does a great job, and we'll talk about the chipper here in just a few minutes. I've got some logs to chip, so we'll fire it back up, and I'll position my trailer so that we can catch the chips and do things with that. Okay, and let's take a break. All right, here we have the Woodland Mills wood chipper. They're WC68. Runs off of the PTO on the tractor. And it has a hydraulic feed mechanism down in here so that it'll self-feed the wood, which is nice to have, so you're not getting beat up by the vibrations of the wood chipper. And the tractor's rated at 35 horsepower when it was brand new. I'm sure it's a lot less now, so I don't push this to its limits as far as wood goes. So I've never fed 6-inch fat wood into here. And that makes good camp wood anyway, so I just save that. But it works great. It doesn't do real well with very green trees. These pine and fir trees, when they're small and green, they can just wrap around the drum and clog up the mechanism because they're so sticky and green. So you can't feed a lot of real green pine and fir into this without it clogging. You have to be very careful when doing so, but it does work. And I'll bring this around and show you the feed chute. And then we have our safety bar, this big red safety bar. This is in the feed position, and that's neutral, and that's reverse. So that's nice to have, so that you can, if you do get caught, you can push the reverse bar in and save yourself a whole lot of pain and suffering. Okay, so we're going to get the tractor fired up, and we'll feed some wood, and we'll get some chips into our Woodland Mills trailer, and then take that for somewhere else to go.